Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about what you're all thinking about currently and kind of the situation that's going on with DK. I know everybody's thinking, what are the next steps here? What is the next path in this procedure moving forward? Is he even going to get extradited? Is he going to be able to go poof and disappear into thin air? What's going to happen? Who's detaining him? All of these different things. If you're new here, drop a subscription, drop a like, drop a comment. Those three things are really going to help us out. And it's also going to help you stay informed with all of the different content that we're producing here. So let's just dive straight into this one and get you up to date more or less with the current status of the man, the myth, the legend himself. So this is actual footage of him being released. This is the only footage that is available. It's a little bit grainy, but more or less you get the idea. Now, what I want to do is just take pause here. And I want you to just look at how small he is now in comparison to when he was last caught on camera, so to speak. And we'll show this shortly, but you know, he isn't free, so to speak. This whole idea of him being out of custody, being able to do what he wants and being able to get him to do what we all want him to do, right? Which is just get a tweet out, because inevitably this is just going to send the price probably on an explosive breakout, just because of the fact that he's back, he's on scene, and he's got access to the internet. Now, take everything I'm going to be saying with a pinch of salt. Anything can happen in this court case, in this battle. Anything can happen in Montenegro. And like I've been saying, he could just poof into thin air. We know he's got a ledger on him, and he should realistically still have that if it hasn't been confiscated from him, so to speak. So let's bring up the next part of this. So what I want to do is just get you on point with kind of what's going on with this guy. So we released Do Kwon from prison as his regular prison term for traveling with fake papers, ended since he is a foreign citizen and his documents were withheld. He was taken for an interview to the police directorate for foreigners, and they will deal with him further. So before I go any further, let's take a look at who this police directorate is, because even I was kind of confused. So within the police directorate of Montenegro, the border police department with its organizational units at the central, regional and local levels perform activities related to border control and control of movement and residence of foreign nationals. So movement and residence. Okay. So now let me bring you back to this article, and we'll go through the next bit. Kwon's lawyer, Goran Rodic, also confirmed his release. According to state TV, Kwon's passport has been held back to prevent him from leaving the country. Later on Saturday, Kwon was relocated to a shelter for foreigners, as reported by state TV, citing Rodic, who indicated plans to appeal to a court for Kwon's to remain free until an extradition ruling. The Supreme Court's action followed a challenge by the chief prosecutor in the Balkan nation, who cited procedural errors in the rulings favouring South Korea's request. Extradition to either country awaits further court deliberations, with no specified timeline provided after the announcement on Friday. So once again, right, he's not really free. So he's being sheltered more or less by the border force of Montenegro. If we're to summarize things, he doesn't have his documents to travel, so we know he's got his genuine passport with him. If it's not genuine, it's going to be made genuine through these plans, all with more or less their border control. So let's keep moving this forward. And like I said, this was him last time he was pictured, and then this is a screenshot of him now, so you can see the difference and how brutal a jail term is in a country like that. Now, a lot of people think that he's going to be home free, so to speak, and can go home, he can see his family, he can see his kids. It's not going to be a situation like that. And this is why I'm kind of thinking to myself, is he actually going to get access to the internet? Is he going to be able to get on Twitter and make a tweet? Well, the likelihood is no, unless someone slips him something in this foreigner's place that he's being housed in, so to speak, because wherever he goes from Montenegro is going to be through Interpol, or it's going to be through South Korea's version of Interpol, or it's going to be the United States. Either way, he's going to be going from custody to custody. So the whole idea of him kind of being free and DK's free, it's kind of on the tin if we're to summarize things. House arrest. So he's not really free. So let's keep moving this forward, and now let's take a look at the price of these coins, because what I was saying previously, it's just bullish news. Overall, this is just bullish for LUNC, for USTC, and for Luna, for all three of us, because we move in tandem. Now, Luna is definitely leading the charge on this one, being the native asset that DK deals with. He doesn't deal with Luna Classic. If you're new here, you're new to the scene, they abandoned Luna Classic, but we are tied in with them. Price-wise, we do seem to move in a very symbiotic manner, so to speak. So let's go back to the LUNC price. Let's talk about kind of what's going on here. So we have seen what I would say is a possible breakout, because we've got out of this zone here, which is quite important. So we've got a pole, we've got a flag structure, a little bit of a down trek, and now coming up, cooling off again and coming up slightly. So we are getting DCA signals on this screen, but what I would say to you is this, what I've got it set up for is for day trading. This is specifically for short-term trading, so pay no attention to these DCA out signals. Now, how could this possibly go? Can we expect more of a downtrend? Can we expect more of an uptrend? I really don't know. I just really don't know. I know Montenegro in itself is a rather corrupt country, so likelihood is he could get access to a computer, but the only issue is everybody who's around him would probably know he's done that. Everybody who's more or less supervising him and responsible for him would also see that. So has he kind of learned from his lessons previously, or is he just going to go ahead, ape straight in and get it done? Who knows? Anything can happen at this moment in time. What I do know is, like I said, he's going to end up either in South Korean custody or the United States custody. I personally keep thinking he's going to end up in the US just because of the political standpoint on things. The fact that South Korea and themselves actually already got their piece of the cake, if we are to put it in that sentence, so to speak, because it wasn't just him that was traveling. You had Han Chong-jun as well, who was traveling on falsified documents. He's been extradited back to South Korea, and I think he's been given a life sentence. If I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong there. I'm not up to date on that part of things. I'm just trying to keep us up to date on this at the moment. Now, like I was saying, authorities from the US and South Korea have both filed, and they're both competing for extradition requests. So how this is going to pan out, I don't know. And what I keep saying to people is, because he's got access to funds, he can just keep getting his legal team to appeal one, appeal the other, appeal one, appeal the other. And this could keep going back and forth for a long time until he runs out of funds, or until he finds a loophole that enables him to maybe travel to another country where he can then travel to Dubai, which is where I think he was aiming to get himself to throughout this journey. Now, like I was saying, take everything I say with a pinch of salt, right? This guy supposedly supposed to be innocent, so to speak. Now, what I do know is there's a company called Genesis. They've just filed for bankruptcy, and they played a very important role, so to speak, in the crash. Now, to find out who committed the brutal act, right, of ensuing this crash, this DPEG, the answer is in the Genesis ledger books and all of their kind of behind the scenes paperwork that we'll probably get access to in the future, because it will be a public request thing. Someone can put the request in, pay the money, and get the information just under a freedom of, public information and stuff like that. But that is going to be really important moving forward. So where does this leave us all as the Luna community, as the Luna Classic community and the USTC community? Well, it kind of leaves us in a very peculiar state of limbo. And the reason why I'm saying this is because right now, as it stands, everything, and I mean this, absolutely everything, well, apart from a few different things like VSG, for example, everything is currently kind of reliant on what BTC is going to do. Now, LUNC will go over to the day chart view shortly, and I'll give you my aspect to what we can expect in a few days, but everything's down to be at BTC. If BTC wants to just take an absolute huge dump, we're going to go with it. It's BTC dominance. But just remember, right, we're in an overall bull market, and as an LUNC community member myself, I've just weathered 2 years, and this is definitely not the time to be trying to eject out of crypto, because it's gone up a bit and it's gone back down, in my opinion. That's just my own opinion, like I was saying. But BTC in itself is just in a downtrend at the moment, and it needs to break out of it. It's going to break out of it, and we're less than, I would say, 30 days. Probably about 30 to 32 days until the halving event actually happens. From that point onwards, historically, we only move in an uptrend. So let me bring back over to the LUNC chart. Let me bring up the day chart and let me give you a kind of a view of what's going on here. So what we could possibly be seeing is a cup and handle playing out. Now, yesterday we printed a spinning top. If you don't know what a spinning top is, it's this candle here that I'm hovering over. Sometimes this can mean a bullish trend. Sometimes this can mean we can track sideways. Sometimes, specifically when it's printed like this, can mean a big reversal. But I'm just not kind of buying into it because of the simple fact of all of the myth, the secrets, everything that surrounds what's going on with DK at the moment. And not a lot of people are really going to be knowing what's going on. They're probably going to be aping into things. And it's the bull run. People are looking to load up at the moment. So what I would say is take all of this with a pinch of salt, but this is possibly a cup. We've seen the downtrend part, and now we're going to see that handle play out. And we could see something like this. I'm still looking at that 30,000 points per coin target. This is still definitely my target moving forward. And I think we should hit this relatively soon if things just go a certain way, so to speak, and we use and utilize the burning, and we have all of the different games begin to launch. We have different things happen. I think for me, 30,000 points per coin is easily achievable in the next month to 2 months. 40,000 points per coin, maybe in like 4 or 5 months as we start pushing forward into this bull run. But do remember, we are a coin that lags. We do tend to lag behind, and we tend to move when everything's a little bit depressing, everything's sort of tracking sideways, going down a bit, tracking sideways. And we tend to do these crazy kind of breakouts around then. So previously we did see that XRP bounced on its trend line. It moved up by a decent amount, around 30%. LUNC looked like it was going to follow that. It didn't. We had a downtrend. So hopefully this is now our time to push out of this and make some decent gains. So what we're going to be looking at here today to kind of deny this spinning top, I would say we need to get a higher breakout than the spinning top to stay in a zone of relative comfort, so to speak. Now, the overall aim, I would say, is just to get back up on this trend line and keep following that. Even if we're swinging below it a little bit, even if we're swinging above it a decent amount, I would just like to see us keep moving on this trend line. It's going to be so important moving forward that that is the basis of our whole movement during this run, because if we can do things slow and steady, we don't get too overcooked. And as we're bringing in new users and new people are getting involved, the idea is you want them to hold their bag. You want them to stake. Now, I'm holding coins where 50%, I'm holding probably about 4 or 5 coins that have around 40 to 50% of the supply locked up, which is really good. You're not going to see those coins damage the market. And when there's panic about, the panic selling doesn't hit as hard. And that's kind of the idea with LUNC. So although it does look like we're going down a decent amount sometimes, we're really not. And I think people are panicking a lot of the time over nothing because of the fact this isn't 2 years ago. This isn't 3 years ago. This isn't 4 years ago, just after the bull runs happened. We're at the point of accumulation, and everything that you get now, you'll probably sit and think to yourself in 2-3 months, gosh, why didn't I buy more? Why didn't I grab more in that zone when we were so low down and we could have got so much more? Don't put yourself in that position, right? Put yourself in a position where you've put yourself with a little bit of risk, a little bit of reward, but ultimately you are playing it safe. You're diversifying. So I'm looking at hopefully a really decent push out over the next 12 hours, getting above that area, like I was saying on the chart, and just holding above that spinning top is going to be so important, guys. But other than that, that's all I've got for you today. There are things going on in the Commonwealth at the moment. I want to do a independent video on it, so you're going to need to stay tuned on that. But it's about the Oracle rewards pool replenish by tweaking the the funding of the community pool and different stuff like that. It deserves an independent video to give you an independent aspect of what I'm thinking and what the kind of idea around this is from my perspective, and how it could be beneficial, and at the same time how there are other more pressing things that are causation of the Oracle reward pool depletion rate. Guys, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.